Hey, have you ever felt a little adrift? Like you're looking for your true purpose? Well, if you're a man wrestling with that, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're diving into the insights of Coach Bruyns. He's got a kind of roadmap for men on this exact journey, the search for a really deep and meaningful life.
We've all been there, haven't we? That moment you just stop and ask, why am I even doing all this? What's the point? According to Coach Bruyns, that big existential question isn't a crisis. It's actually a super important turning point for every man.
And get this, Coach Bruyns doesn't just suggest that men should have a purpose. Nope, he states it as a basic requirement for a life that actually feels fulfilling. So, the big question is, how do we find this thing? Let's get into his framework. All right, so we've asked the biggest question there is. What's the answer? Well, Coach Bruyns has a perspective that might not be what you're expecting. Let's check it out.
Okay, so here's the core of his philosophy. He believes your unique talents, your skills, all that stuff, it's not just for you. He sees it as a gift, and the real purpose of that gift is to serve others. And by serving humanity, he says, you're ultimately serving a higher power.
Now, what's really interesting about this approach is that it works no matter where you're coming from. If you're a person of faith, your path is pretty clear. It's through prayer. But if you're not, the journey is all about self-discovery, about really digging in to find out what you believe and what purpose you want to serve.
And this part right here, it's the most important rule. This isn't something you can just borrow from someone else or read in a book. It has to be real for you. It has to be something you discover for yourself, something you feel deep down is true.
Okay, so we've got the what, find our purpose. But what about the how? How do we actually do this in our day-to-day lives? Let's get into the practical side of things. For Bruyns, prayer isn't just about asking for stuff. He sees it as a relationship, a conversation. It's about humility, recognizing that you're just one part of something way, way bigger than yourself. And he breaks this relationship down into two really simple pillars: asking and giving thanks. When you ask, you're opening yourself up to receive guidance and help. And when you give thanks, you're acknowledging where all the good things in your life come from. It's this simple but really profound cycle.
That second part, gratitude, is so important that Bruyns gives it its own section. And here's why he thinks it's such a big deal. He believes gratitude is the actual key that unlocks real, genuine happiness.
Think about it. Have you ever worked super hard for a goal, finally achieved it, and then the feeling of satisfaction just kind of faded away? Bruyns says that's because we're often chasing the wrong things. The promotion, the car, the status. He says they're all kind of empty if they're not connected to something deeper.
So what's the secret sauce for lasting happiness? Well, it's not about what you get. It's about appreciating what you've already got. When you start focusing on what you have instead of what you don't, it can literally shift your entire outlook on life. Now, Bruyns takes this idea even one step further. He argues that the deepest kind of gratitude comes from seeing your blessings not as just random luck, but as actual gifts from a higher power. He believes this transforms gratitude from just a feeling into a real spiritual practice.
This all leads us to a really fascinating, and maybe for some, a pretty controversial idea he calls the worldly spiritualist. What on earth does that mean? Let's find out.
A lot of us have this idea that to be spiritual, you have to give up all the nice things in life, right? You have to reject worldly pleasures. But what if that's totally wrong? Bruyns offers a pretty radical alternative.
So picture this. After a time of intense spiritual searching, of getting rid of all the stuff that didn't matter, Bruyns didn't go live in a cave. He actually came back to the world, but he came back totally changed, with a brand new way of seeing everything.
Honestly, this is a game changer. The idea is that you don't have to choose between being spiritual and being successful. You can have both. The trick is to enjoy the good things life has to offer without letting them own you. It's about being free from attachment, not free from pleasure. Let me put it another way. Instead of chasing every shiny new object, the toys, Bruyns' advice is to build a relationship with the toy maker. See, when you have a direct connection to the source of it all, the individual toys just don't seem as important anymore. Your focus shifts from wanting things to wanting that connection.
So, we've gone through all of this: purpose, prayer, gratitude, this idea of being a worldly spiritualist. So where does this all leave us? Well, it leaves us with the most important question of all.
And with that, we've come full circle. This whole journey isn't about finding some single right answer that someone else gives you. It's about you asking yourself the right questions. So, what is your ultimate meaning? The answer isn't out there somewhere. It's in you, just waiting to be discovered. And the search, it's all yours. And it can start right now.